Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday, and welcome to this Specialist Trading educational presentation, where today I want to talk to you about two methods that I really think will help you succeed in the market in 2021. Now, I've been using these two methods in my own personal trading for the last 4 decades, and if they've been able to sustain me, I think they'll be able to sustain you in your trading, whatever market you trade, whatever time frame, whatever direction you like to trade. For example, let me share with you how most people trade and how these two methods can really help you. As we look at this chart here, here's an older chart in WDFC. Okay, that's WD40. Most traders, myself included, when I first started trading, we would look at this and say, well, we kind of have a sideways market or resistance right here. This is where all the big banks are selling. So I'm going to wait for a breakout before I do anything. Or if I really want to be a more aggressive trader, I'll simply short this. And, I'll use that breakout as my stop placement. And this is the way we make our decisions based off of what something we think is happening within the markets. But let me share with you what these two methods would have revealed, because the first method actually generated a buy signal. Where you thought there was resistance, there was a buy signal being generated right here. And the second method I'm going to be talking about today confirmed that buy signal, which gave you a higher level of consistency and a very high probability setup. So it would have given you the confidence to take the trade. Even though nothing really flourished or happened in the next 2 bars, ultimately you could have potentially captured upwards of 40 points by just holding on a couple of extra days. Now the beauty of all this is that you'll be able to, with one-click access, generate these signals that these two methods produce on our platform. This is the PTS Primo Charting Platform, the educational platform I designed with Pro Trader Strategies to actually teach you how to trade. So this promises to be a great educational presentation. Welcome once again. My name is Stephen Primo, President and Founder of Specialist Trading. I teamed up with Pro Trader Strategies about 12 years ago now with just one goal in mind, to educate traders around the world. And we're happy to say that we have students in over 116 countries around the world and in every state in the United States. So we're really happy about that because we really are turning some traders' lives around. We're for the first time making these traders consistent. And the reason why we feel that most traders aren't consistent is because they're listening to something else to tell them how to trade. I mean, think of it. How do you make your own decisions on a daily basis? Do you listen to the guy on TV tell you what he likes or doesn't like? Do you listen to the jobless claims coming out in the morning telling you what the market's supposed to do or not supposed to do based on this news? Do you listen to some guy in a chat room or some indicator that you've never heard of, you don't understand how it works or what you're supposed to do, you just blindly follow along? This is the way most traders trade, myself included, when I first started trading. I was lucky enough to have some mentors. I first started trading on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange some 43 years ago. And these mentors of mine were specialists on the floor who saw how much I was struggling. And they turned my life around with trading by sharing with me these two simple methods. And I'm going to share with you exactly how you can incorporate them into your own trading today. Now, before we begin, as always, we're first required by law to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results. In fact, I think I have close to 200 slides today, so we won't be going over an hour, but close to it. So I'm going to show you a lot of these performance results, but remember, we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. Also, please remember that since we are an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, a lot of people have really thanked us for letting them know that we have a Twitter page. But if you haven't done so already, please feel free to follow us on Twitter, because every day I post different information, anywhere from signals our strategies have generated to little bits of financial wisdom. Lots of great things I've already posted on today's page. So copy down our handle right there, and you can follow us and see what we're posting on a daily basis, okay? Now remember, we are different from other webinars you may have attended in the fact that we are first and foremost an educational company. Now, I remember the last webinar I gave last week, or I believe last Saturday, I said the same thing. I said, if you've come here thinking that I'm going to tell you what the market's going to do next week, or if you've come here thinking that I'm going to tell you what the perfect stock is to buy for next week or what the perfect stock is to sell, or if you've come here thinking I'm going to tell you what time frame you should be trading, you've really come to the wrong place, because once again, that goes to that concept of you having someone tell you what or how to trade. And that it goes entirely against our philosophy. And I remember I said this in last week's webinar, and the first question I got was from a student who said, okay, Steve, what's the best time frame to trade this? Which once again, we're trained to think this way. And I'm not trying to be arrogant or condescending. I did the same thing. When my mentors, taught me these two methods, I remember going up to them and saying, well, what are you guys buying or selling today? What do you think I should do? Because we're trained to, tag along and get our answers from someone or something else. But we have to learn how to let go of that and how to educate ourselves so that we can make our own decisions. In my 43 years of trading, I've been trading for 43 years, starting in a couple of months, it'll be 44. The only traders I know who are consistent, who are still trading, are the ones who make their own decisions. They don't, watch any news. They don't go to a chat room or listen to the blogs. They simply see the market in front of them and they make their decisions. So I'm trying to get all of our students, and hopefully you as well, included in that mindset, in that way of thinking, that you should be in charge of your own trading destiny, not someone else, including myself, not someone else telling you what to buy or sell. So remember, my goal is not to feed you signals, not to tell you what to buy or sell, but to teach you how to trade with the specialist edge. Same edge I was taught some 4 decades ago that sustained me, and hopefully it will be able to do the same for you. Okay, so once again, I have a lot of slides to share with you, so if we stop at every slide to ask a question, I promise you we'll be here for about 4 or 5 hours. I don't want to ruin your Thanksgiving vacation, so please, if you have a question, just wait till the end. I promise I'll get to it at the very end of our presentation in about 45 minutes from now. The only question I will answer is this, and most people ask and wonder if we record our webinars. Yes, we do. So every one of you will get a link to this recording at the end of the presentation, okay? So if you're having technical issues, if you can't see or hear me clearly, oftentimes it's your own internet connection. So the best thing is just to log off and then log back on. If you're still having trouble seeing or hearing clearly, don't worry, you're going to get a link to this recording, all right? So remember, just wait till the end to ask questions so we don't have to slow down the presentation. All right, with that stated, let us begin today's educational presentation. And I want to share with you one of the things my mentors taught me when I was struggling some 4 decades ago, and what has really stayed with me, and I want to share with you. And here's what they said. They said, Steve, the market you're trading, now remember, it doesn't matter if it's a stock market, it doesn't matter if it's a currency pair market, it doesn't matter if it's an E-mini futures, Bitcoin, commodities. It doesn't matter, but the market you're trading, whatever market you're trading, regardless of time frame or direction. So it doesn't matter if you're a short seller, it doesn't matter if you're a buyer, it doesn't matter if you're trading tick charts, it doesn't matter if you're trading weekly bars. So the market you're trading, regardless of what time frame or direction, tells you everything you need to know. I remember my mentors taught me this, and I remember when I first heard it, I thought, that's ridiculous. How can the market tell me what I need to know? That guy on TV is supposed to tell me what I need to know. Or this indicator is supposed to tell me what I need to know. Or the earnings are supposed to tell me everything I know. This is the way we're trained, where some outside source other than ourselves is supposed to tell us everything about how to trade. But ultimately, I found out that it's true. All you need to do is learn how to listen to the market. The only trouble is we're never taught how to listen to the market. We're always taught to listen to somebody or something else, right? Myself included. I was taught to listen to the earnings or the jobless claims, or I was taught to listen to the guys on TV, but I never learned how to listen to the market until my mentors showed me how. So this is what we're going to be doing today, learning how to listen to the market. And actually, it's a lot simpler. It's a lot cheaper, okay? All right, so here are the 2 methods I'm going to be sharing with you to help you listen to the market. The first one is a strategy I've been trading for over 4 decades now, strategy number 4. You've heard me talk about it before. It only has a total of 4 rules. I'm going to share with you 2 of those rules today. Let's talk about some of the highlights. It's a pattern recognition strategy. So we're looking for a specific pattern that occurs over and over and over again in any market and in any time frame. Now, it's designed for traders looking to catch momentum. And the beauty of strategy 4 is that oftentimes it will show you or give you these clues of a momentum move that's about to happen before it even looks like it's happened. You'll see some examples where the market's basically going sideways, and it will generate signals because it's already identified that momentum is building up. And it only uses one indicator. And I'm going to share with you what that is. In fact, I'll tell you right now, it's a 50-period moving average. This tells us if we're a buyer or a seller. So let's look at some examples of this first method to help you really listen to the market and to help you get on board with your trading for 2021. All right, here's an example now in VRSM. Here's an older chart example. Someone looking at this would say, wow, Steve, this is a range market. There's nothing to do here. I mean, why would I want to get involved with that? I'll probably buy it. I'll be holding on for 2 weeks and nothing will happen. Or maybe I'll sell it and nothing will happen. I mean, we're always taught stay away from these whipsaw ranging markets, right? Well, first thing we do is apply the 50-period moving average. That's the first rule of strategy number 4, because that tells us if we're going to be a buyer or a seller. We always ask ourselves, once we apply the 50, is where is price in relation to that? If price is below, then we'll only look for sell signals. But as you can see here, price is above. So that means we're only looking for buy signals. All right, so that's our first rule. The second rule is we want to look for bars that close in the top portion, either the very top or the top portion of their range. All right. Now we see here, there are a number of bars here. Here's closing in the top portion. Here's another one that closes in the top portion. This one closes in the top portion, and so does this one. But this one was a buy signal. Now, the reason why it was is because there's 2 more remaining rules which I can't divulge right now, but that generated a buy signal. I can't give you the entire thing for free, but I share with you 2 of the rules, all right? Very simple. And then, look what happened. Stock all of a sudden went up 20 points right after that signal. Do you see how it identified momentum where everyone else was saying, oh, no, it's a range. You don't want to do anything there. All right, how about this example? PINS, all right? There's major support there. You've got to buy it. Look at that. That's where you took that $10,000 class, and that indicator says that all the institutions are buying here, okay? You see how I justified this? Because something outside is telling me that it's major support. What is the market telling me? Well, the first thing we do is apply the 50-period moving average. And then we ask ourselves, where is price in relation to that? If price is above, we'll be a buyer like we were in VRSM. But where is price now? Price is below. So we're never going to buy anything below the 50-period moving average. Now, we look for bars that are the opposite. We look for bars that close in the bottom portion of their range. All right, so we look here, and we have one that closed right here in the bottom portion, and we have another one that closed right here. Now, according to that pattern, which is part of the last 2 rules we teach you, only this bar was a sell signal. Remember, I can't go and give you all the rules for free. As I often state in my webinars, I'm giving you an appetizer, and most of you say, well, can't you give me the entire meal for free? It's like, can you imagine going to a restaurant when they finally open and saying, hey, I want my entire meal for free. Even though you gave me a couple of appetizers for free in good faith, I think I deserve the entire meal. Well, it would be the same thing if you wanted me to give you the entire rules. Wouldn't be fair to all the people that have already paid for their meal in the restaurant. Wouldn't be fair for all the students around the world who have already purchased Strategy 4. But I can share with you the first 2 rules. So a signal to go short was generated, and look what happened, okay? You see how simple this is. I didn't listen to any earnings reports. I didn't listen to anybody in the chat room. You don't have to listen to anyone on TV to generate these signals. You just have to learn how to listen to the market, because all the signals are based off of a pattern that is telling you how to listen to the market. So I use Strategy 4 in my own personal trading. In fact, I've used it twice this morning. I traded the E-minis. One was a valid signal, I should say. The other one was a loss, a small loss. The other one was a break even. So I've had 3 trades today, a win, which is more than my loss. So I've made money on today. This is the way it works. Consistency, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So not every trade is going to be a winner. For example, even though you had a bunch of winners here, let's look at this chart here in SIX, letter 6, okay? All right, let's say you became a student of mine. This is your first trade. You're all excited. You say, wow, I learned the pattern. I learned all the rules. And yeah, this is a valid sell signal. So you sell here. Maybe you bought the puts. Maybe you just shorted the stock, whatever. And then this happens. Now, if you had a tight stop, you most likely would have gotten stopped out. We give our students upwards of 6 or 7 different stops. But let's say maybe you were in and you thought, well, I got in a little bit too early. And guess what? There's another sell signal being generated. So I'll double up. After all, if I double up, I don't need it to go down that much in order to start making money. So you double up, and then this happens. It doesn't go down, and now you get stopped out. So you say to yourself, well, I can't go short anymore because now we're above the buy-sell line, the 50 period. So I'll only look to be a buyer. All right. And you say, well, that's okay. Steve said you will have some losses. That's all right. So you wait for a bit, and then all of a sudden, 2 buy signals are generated here. So you're all excited. So you say, okay, now I'm going to make my money back that I lost in my first 2 trades. I'll buy here, and then you buy, and then this happens, okay? At this point, You're screaming out my name. You're saying that none of this stuff works. You want your money back and all this stuff. Here's where the second method comes into play. This is our pet D. This is our confirmation tool because it's going to tell you whether or not to take the signal. You've just increased your odds for consistency tremendously when you add this confirmation tool. So how does this work? The pet D is a tool I was introduced to on the floor as well by my mentors. We used to call it the formula because it was a formula that had to calculate almost on a tick-by-tick basis of a certain indications and certain parameters and requirements. We couldn't use it that much. We could only use it on daily bars because by the time you figured out the parameters for, say, a 10-minute bar, you had to calculate the parameters for another 10-minute bar. So we used it only for end-of-day type of indications. But with the help of high-speed computers and programmers, we've developed it into a color bar algorithm. So there's nothing you have to do. We've taken all the hard work out of it for you. All you have to know is how to apply it. For example, someone looking at this older chart net would say, well, yeah, we're in an uptrend. And let's say right around here on this little sell-off, you decide to get long and you've got a nice one-day profit. You say, wow, I'm going to make a killing. This is going to go straight up. The market's in an uptrend, higher highs, higher lows. I'm feeling good about this. And then this happens, okay? And all of a sudden, that nice one-day profit you had turns into a major loss. So what if something could announce, not at the very top or the bottom, but at least be in sync with what the market wants to do? Well, that's where the pet D comes in. We have a color bar algorithm that will paint the bars green if the trend is up and paint the bars red if the trend is down. So once you add that on, you see that you knew you were in an uptrend way back here, giving you a chance to get in a lot sooner, and you knew well in advance here that the bars had changed color and it was time to get out. So the beauty of the pet D, as you see here, is that it tells you which direction you should be trading. And once you know that direction, you can confirm if your strategy signal is in sync with that direction. So you can basically confirm any strategy. It doesn't have to be strategy 4. It could be one of yours, can someone else's, but you will already increase your odds for consistency if it is confirmed. Now, when we put this combination together of strategy 4 and the pet D, we have what we call our dynamic duo, one of our most successful packages we have at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies. We have just dozens, if not hundreds and thousands of students trading the dynamic duo around the world in multiple markets, different time frames, and different ways in which to trade. So let's share with you the rules and how you apply the dynamic duo, okay? Obviously, you're going to wait for a strategy 4 signal to be generated. Let's say you have a strategy 4 buy signal generated. Well, you're only going to trade that buy signal if that signal, that's the bar above the arrow, is colored green by the pet D. Okay, it's that simple. Now, obviously, if the bars before it are green, that's great, but we don't care what the color is of the bars prior to the signal or after. All that matters is that bar above the green arrow is green as well. That's your confirmation. You just have a higher level of consistency and a higher probable trade that will be successful. Now, if you want to sell, you're only going to trade strategy number 4, sell signals that are colored red by the pet D. So in other words, we don't care what the color of the bars were before. They could all be green. It doesn't matter. And we don't care what the colors are afterwards. But that bar that has a down arrow, red arrow above it, must also be colored red by the pet D. You will have a higher level of consistency if you take that signal as opposed to the other ones, okay? So let's show you how simple it is to apply this process on the PTS Primo Charting Platform. This is the only place we were able to automatically apply it with simplicity because we designed it that way to make trading the dynamic duo simple. Everything is one click away. Takes you seconds to generate a signal, takes you seconds to confirm it with the pet D. Okay, so let's look at this chart here in APA. Going up, going down, going sideways. How could the dynamic duo have helped you here? All right, well, the first thing you want to do on our platform, as you see, the upper green strategy tab has all our strategies and all our methods and techniques, is click on strategy 4 right here. Once you click it on, a drop-down menu appears. Click on signal arrows, and you'll see the signal arrows all appear. Valid sell signals, valid buy signals. So some of these are better than others. This sell signal was a nice one. This one didn't work at all. This buy signal was a nice one. And these other buy signals didn't work at all. So how can the dynamic duo help us? Well, what we want to do to confirm these before we would have taken them, looking back in hindsight, is to add the PET D. So we click on the PET D in our upper green strategy tab here, and it automatically changes the colors. So this literally takes seconds for you to do on a nightly basis. And you can see right here that the first sell signal we should have taken, because underneath the red bar, the bar was red. So if we had taken that, we potentially could have made 5 points. Remember, in our course, we give you upwards of 7 different exit points. We give you 7 different ways to enter, and roughly 6 or 7 different ways to place your stop. So how you want to exit is up to you. I mean, you could have made potentially 5. Now, the second sell signal, what color is it? It's green. So that's not confirmed by the PET D. Remember, the PET D is our confirmation tool. It's not confirming it, so we would not have taken that trade and therefore would not have lost money. See how this helps us? It's fine-tuning our trades. Now, our next signal is another buy. In order to take that with a dynamic duo, this bar needs to be colored green, and it is. So you could have taken that and potentially made 8 points. See how simple this is? This is already pre-formatted. We teach you all of the rules. But once you understand the rules, you can just click it on to see if it's confirming. Now, these last 4 or 5 buy signals, what color are they? In order for us to take them, they need to be colored green, and they're all red. So we would not have taken any of these. And look how that would have saved us. Some of the best trades are the ones you never take. So just this one stock, do you see how powerful the dynamic duo is? Now, is this guaranteed to filter out all the bad setups? No. Life isn't like that, where everything works 100% of the time. And I've seen some webinars where some guys say, we haven't had a loss in 20 years. All of our strategies always generate profits. I mean, it's silly. Like I told you this morning, I had a loss, and I'm still making money on today. So there's nothing wrong with losses. But if you can filter out as many as possible, you'll increase your odds for consistency even more. And that's what the dynamic duo does. All right, so let's look at some recent dynamic duo signals, and then we'll look at some real recent ones that happened in the last 3 or 4 weeks, and then we'll look at different markets, okay? Okay, first one is an NTRS. All right, looks like it's going up, but most people would say, well, we're kind of rolling over here. We kind of have a dark cloud cover, and maybe we should sell this. But you apply strategy 4, signal arrow, and you have 2 signals. This was a buy and this was a sell. So which ones would you have taken and kept, and which ones would you have not? Well, you apply the PET D, and the PET D confirms which ones to take. Now, the buy signal was colored green, so you would have taken that one. The sell signal was also colored green, so you would not have taken that. So you'd still be in the buy and potentially made 10 points coming into November. Here's another one, an HAE, okay? You have a buy signal there. Should we take it? Well, you apply the PET D, and yes, you should take it because it's colored green. It's not guaranteed that it's going to work, but you now have a high probability setup. And yes, you made 12 points in about 5 days. Not a bad little setup, huh? Remember, it's nice to have all the bars before it green. It's nice to have most of the bars green afterwards, but it doesn't matter. You see, we had a red one here, and it wouldn't matter if all these bars were red. All we're concerned about is the color of the bar above the setup bar. ADP, once again, we have 2 signals, a sell and a buy. All right? Has this ever happened to you? We'll say, well, which one do I take? Well, that's where the PET D comes in handy as your confirmation tool. The dynamic duo confirms, and once again, in order to take this sell, this bar needs to be red. Even though it's a down day, let's back up. You see, it's a down day. It opened here and closed lower. Just because it's a down day does not mean we have to color that bar red. For some reason, the West thinks that's the way you color candlesticks. No, if a down day is in a candlestick, it should be black. And then once we add the PET D, we see that it's a dark green. So this is telling us that even though it's a down day, it's still in an uptrend. So we're not going to take that sell signal. But the buy signal is okay to take because it's outlined green. So you would have taken that buy signal in ADP and 12 points in the next week. Now for the first time, you're having confidence in being able to trade. In 2021, you can start out the year feeling really confident because you have a strategy that makes you feel confident, and then you have a confirmation tool that even gives you more consistency. All right, 2 signals once again. A buy, which kind of went up a little bit, then went sideways and lower, and then a sell. So should I hold on to the buy or should I switch and go into the sell? Well, let's apply the PET D, and well, the buy was red. Even though the bar after it is green, All we're concerned is the bar above the green arrow. So it needs to be green if we were going to take that. So we never even took that signal. Now we have a sell signal and the bar below it is red. So yes, it's a valid dynamic duo sell signal. You can take it if you'd like. 3 points. I know 3 points doesn't seem like a lot. This is an inexpensive stock, but that was a 22% loss in 1 week. In other words, you had 22% going in your favor if you had sold it, or, let's say you were holding this on into your long-term portfolio. If you got a sell signal, maybe you just want to get out, and maybe you would get in at a lower price because, the stock dropped in price 22% in 1 week. All right, here's an example of the way most traders trade, myself included. When I first started trading, I'd say, all right, range market, right? You don't want to do anything. It's a whipsaw. Every time you buy, it goes down. Every time you sell, it goes up. But what is the market telling us? All right, there's no consistency in looking at old, tired, worn out ways of analyzing. We have to listen to the market. It's a lot simpler to do that. First thing we do is apply strategy 4. Now it already has pre-formatted the signals, but remember, we teach you what to look for. Our goal is to ultimately have you so that you don't have to, click on strategy 4 and generate an up or down arrow. You should be able to see on your own whether a buy or sell signal has been generated. I can look at this chart and I know where the buy or sell signal is. But let's see what our platform tells you. Click on signal arrow, and guess what? We have 2 buy signals here. So where everyone else was saying we should avoid this stock because it's just kind of going sideways, you knew that strategy 4 was noticing that there's a lot of momentum building up and that most likely it wants to burst up higher. Now, in order to really be confident about these 2 setups, let's apply the PET-D, our dynamic duo. And yes, they're both confirmed. All the bars are green, but these are the 2 that count. So you could have taken this where everyone says, oh, just avoid that stock. Snap, it's just, it's not doing anything. Stock gapped up and went up higher 15 points, where everyone else thought there was nothing going to happen. How about NXPI? All right, here's what a lot of traders like to do, myself included. When I first started trading, I like to use a lot of uptrend and downtrending lines to break out, and I thought that would work until it did work kind of well until it didn't work, and I would give everything back. For example, here's a breakout, okay, on this little downtrend. Most likely you say, well, I'm going to take that, but then you take it and you buy, and it's confirmed. Well, don't you think it'd be a lot more convincing if you just waited for the confirmation? Because see, even though it's a breakout, you're just basically basing it off of some type of, traditional wisdom that a breakout is supposed to happen. But once you have strategy 4 with the PET-D, you see how it gives you that confidence, and you're not just kind of just hoping and swinging and hoping it's going to work out okay. All right, we have a buy signal in NOC. Should we take it? Well, we apply the PET-D, and what's the dynamic duo telling us? It's telling us it's not confirmed, and aren't we glad we didn't take that? Now, once again, since the trend is down, we only look for sell signals, and you can see you would have still done well. Taking this first sell signal would have generated 11 points. All right, here's what we call a cluster. This is a cluster of buy signals. Basically, strategy 4, built based off this pattern and the rules I share with you, is screaming it wants to go higher. But that doesn't guarantee that it's going to work out. Maybe it'll go high for 1 bar and then crash. So we want confirmation. And once again, even though we apply the confirmation, it's not guaranteeing that it will go higher, but it's giving us an added level of consistency and probability in our favor. We now have an edge if it corresponds with the buy signals. So we apply the PET-D, and guess what? They're all in line with the buy signals. So you can take any of these or all of these signals. 22 points potentially you could have captured. Remember, in our course, we're not going to just leave you hanging. We have 7 different exit methods to share with you, and I'll talk about that in a little bit later in today's presentation. So you would have had plenty of chances to exit here before this happened. As you can see, as the market was falling out of bed, another buy signal was generated, but look here, it's colored red, so we would never have taken it and never lost any money. All right, here's a nice uptrend, right? This is where most people say, okay, well, we've got a nice uptrend here, but look at this. We're overbought. I mean, that chat room I go to says that it's tremendously overbought and we've got to sell it, and there's some bad news coming out on it, so we don't want to buy this. And on top of that, a strategy 4 sell signal was generated. So we've got to take this, right? We apply the PET D, and what is the PET D telling us? It's saying I'm not confirming this sell signal. So it would be best not to take it at all. And 14 points you didn't have to give up in losses because this kept you out. This is the beauty of the PET D dynamic duo in action, because oftentimes it'll keep you out of these losing trades. Here's an example in EV once again. Let's go back to using those uptrends and downtrend lines the way I used to trade, okay? Now, if we look here, here's a nice downtrend, and it broke out. So let's say you bought here, but nothing much is really happening, and you get stopped out with a loss. You say to yourself, wow, this one didn't work. I thought these trend lines are supposed to work. But then you notice that there's another more steep trend line, and then this one busts out. But you say to yourself, you know what, I don't want to lose again. I just lost on that last trade, so I'm kind of frightened and afraid to take the next one. That sound familiar? Do you ever go through that? I don't want to take another loss. I can't afford another loss. So you don't take this one, all right? This is how people don't have the confidence to trade. And therefore, what's the next thing they do? They go to a chat room or wait for the earnings to come out for something to tell them. This way, they don't have to take responsibility in making their decisions. You can just rely on what somebody is telling you what to do. This is why we're trained to do this, because we don't really want to, take charge of our own trading because we're frightened that if we lose, it's our fault. So if we lose, we can always blame it on somebody else. All right. This is the great victim attitude that most traders have. Think about it. How many times you hear traders say, oh gosh, that guy killed me. I took that program. It doesn't work. I lost so much money off that fraud. Or, oh, I listened to this guy on TV. God, he's always wrong. It's a common, victim attitude that traders love to cling to because you can always blame someone else. But by doing that, you don't have to take any responsibility. Well, unfortunately, with specialist trading and pro trader strategies, you have to take the responsibility because you're going to be in charge of your own trading. But here's the beauty about it. You will have more consistent trades once you learn how to make your own decision. For example, if you were frightened to take this trade, if you had strategy 4, you would have seen that a 4 buy signal was generated. Now, to confirm it with the PET D dynamic duo, well, guess what? You had a nice profit there. After we confirm it, we see that all along that was a good signal. So this is how you take control of your own trading, by applying the dynamic duo of strategy 4 along with the PET D. All right, let's look at an example here, WDFC. This is what we opened up the presentation with. Remember where most traders would say, Steve, this is resistance. I can't do anything and go against the institutions. They're always right. They know all the answers, right? They got all the big bucks. Well, strategy 4 said there was a buy signal well before you broke out of that. And if you applied the PET D, it was confirmed. So why would I care what the institutions are supposedly saying? They have some of the worst track records I've ever seen. Remember, just listen to the market. And that's how potentially you could have made 40 points in the next 4 days. Another example in VRTX, a sell signal. Should we take it? Yes, it's confirmed by the PET D. 52 points in the next couple of weeks. ALGM, okay, a buy signal was generated. This will happen sometimes. Sometimes the strategy 4 will generate a buy signal, but you'll have to wait, in this case, a couple of weeks. Doesn't mean that, it's not right. It means that it's so sensitive, it's already noticed that momentum is building up. If you applied the PET D, remember, all we're concerned about was the color of this bar above the arrow, and it's confirmed. So even though you had to wait a little bit, it would have been worth your while because by the end of the next 2 or 3 weeks, it was up 150 points. So you see how this can really help you. Now, most of these signals were generated in September, October. Let's look at some signals that were generated in the last 3 to 4 weeks, okay? Some sooner than that. Most of these are inexpensive stocks because lately the market has really been rallying on a lot of cheap $1, $2, $3 stocks. For example, we look at SUP here, Superior Industries International. On the 2nd of November, just a couple of weeks ago, a strategy 4 buy signal was generated. If we applied the PET D to conclude our dynamic duo setup, yes, it's confirmed. You notice how all the bars prior to it were red, but this one is green. So it's okay to take this trade. Stock goes up 3 points, but that's 150% in 3 weeks. Remember, this is a very inexpensive stock. Look at what we're talking about here. We're talking about buying roughly a $2 stock. You could have bought thousands of shares of that if you wanted to. Here's another inexpensive stock. This was in AYRO. This is on the 12th, just a week or so ago, okay? Once again, a buy signal was generated using strategy number 4. If we want to confirm it, we need to apply the PET D, and that bar needs to be colored green. Yes, it is. So we could have taken this buy signal, roughly a $3.50 stock, on the 12th, 7 points or 200% in just 2 weeks, okay? 200%. I mean, what if Tesla had gone up 200% in 2 weeks, okay? What if Amazon had risen 200% in 2 weeks? So it's all relative. You could have bought a number of shares here just off the dynamic duo. This just happened a couple of weeks ago. How about Solo? Okay, this happened at the end of October. On the 29th, a buy signal once again was generated. Let's confirm it with a PET D. Yes, even though all of the bars were colored red before it, it's colored green, outlined green. Stock gained 11 points or 350% in just 3 weeks. Once again, you could have taken advantage of this with multiple shares. Now let's go to a more expensive stock that's been in the news lately. Everyone's talking about NIO, N-I-O. Consumer cyclical sector here, auto manufacturers. A buy signal generated once again at the end of October, about a month ago. Okay? Why would we have taken this? No one's looking at this stock. It's a kind of a sideways market. It's only about a $25, $27, $28 stock. What's the big deal about this? Remember, we're not interested in fundamental news. If you want to follow fundamental news, that's okay. It's up to you, but it's not required. We never even look. I haven't looked at any news events or any type of news or earnings or jobless claims or economic reports in 4 decades. So I'm still here. If I'm able to still trade without looking at that, don't you think it should be able to apply to you as well? So once again, if you would like to continue to look at fundamental news, you're more than welcome to, but it's not required in any of our methods. So the strategy just generated a signal based on what? Based on listening to the market. And it was confirmed with the PET D. And none of these look at any fundamental news factors at all. And the stock has gone up 27 points in the last 4 weeks. Okay, it's the darling of the market now. Everyone is looking at trying to jump on board when this was generating a buy signal well before that. Okay, so this just happened in the last 3 to 4 weeks. Let's look at some examples applied to other markets, okay? Because we know not everyone just trades stocks. Let's look at a 4-hour chart, or sorry, a 2-hour chart of the British pound. Here's the same example once again. Looks like a range market, right? If you had bought right here, you most likely would have been stopped out. Let's say you shorted it, think it was going to go lower. It goes right back up. This is where traders hate these markets. But what is strategy 4 and the dynamic duo telling you? Remember, we don't care about something's in a range market, or if there are institutions, or if the earnings or economic reports. We don't care about that stuff. What's the market telling you? Well, click on strategy 4 to confirm, and the signal arrows tell us that there are actually 2 buy signals. You could have taken any one of these setups that you wanted to, but only after it was confirmed by the PET D. So we click on the PET D, and yes, both bars are green. We don't care what the other bars are colored, only the bars above the arrow. And look what happened. The British pound went up 200 pips, roughly about $2,000 per unit in the next day or so. Here's an example in the E-mini futures. This is the market I usually trade. Most traders, once again, myself included, we used to look at this and say, well, there's major support there. That's a Fibonacci retracement, and there's major support. That's also where the Elliott waves coincide. So this is the bottom of a wave 3. I've got to buy this. This is the way I used to make my decisions, right? 30-minute chart. So I've taken all my analysis from an outside source. What is the market telling me? Well, strategy 4 listens to the market, and it generated a sell signal here. Now, how can it generate a sell signal if we're at the bottom of a wave 3? It's most likely going to go up. Well, let's confirm it. And how can we be making any type of support if all the bars are red? The market is telling us by our translator, the PET D, that it wants to go lower. Why would I listen to any support, Elliott wave, or some guy in a chat room? I only listen to the market. And look what happened in the next day. The E-mini dropped 480 points, okay? 480 points in the E-mini futures. That roughly is about $24,000 that potentially could have captured. So this is what I mean by only needing to listen to the market, the chart right in front of you. And if you missed that one, look at all the sell signals that were generated later on. Lastly, let's look at commodities. I know a lot of traders don't trade commodities, but if the market ever changes directions and falls out of bed and starts to go in a downtrend, A lot of traders like to switch to things that are more viable and that are tangible, and those are commodities. Here's a weekly chart of soybeans. Okay, once again, we have a sell signal followed by a buy signal. Let's see how it was confirmed. We apply the PET-D, and the first sell signal was something we never would have taken because it was colored green. But the buy signal was confirmed by the PET-D. So we would have gone long in August in soybeans, and coming into the end of October, 170 points. It represents thousands of dollars per unit. So it does not matter what market you trade. It does not matter what time frame. It does not matter what direction you like to trade. All right, so let's recap before we go into the question and answer portion. Remember, these two methods I share with you today are strategy 4. I gave you the first two rules. That's the 50-period moving average and if price closed in the top 25% or the bottom 25%. Those are two rules of strategy 4. It's a pattern recognition strategy designed to identify and capture momentum, often before that momentum even is noticeable. And then the second method is the PET-D. The PET-D is basically a translator. It translates on a tick-by-tick basis what the market wants to do. And we've defined it into a color bar algorithm. So all you have to do is click on the PET-D and it's taken all the hard work out of it for you. It'll color the bars green or red. So if you get a buy signal in strategy 4, you want that bar to be colored green. Then you can take the signal. If you get a red sell signal, you want that bar to be colored red. When you combine these two together, you get one of our most successful packages and popular packages. We call the dynamic duo, the duo of strategy 4 and the PET-D. Now, when I started trading this years ago, we didn't have the platform then. We didn't have anything. I had to kind of figure this out in my mind and on site. But now with the PTS Primo Charting Platform, everything, as you just saw, is one click away. In a matter of seconds, you can see if a dynamic duo signal is generated or not. Now ask yourself, do you think these two methods, which I just shared with you today, can help your trading starting in 2021? Remember, we always make these resolutions at the beginning of the year where we want to be at the end of the year, and the majority of traders never reach them. That's okay. That's very common. Don't you think that these two can finally get you to that place where you'd like to be with your trading? I think the answer is yes. So if you answered yes to that, we have a great attendee discount. We're going to offer you our dynamic duo special. This is strategy number 4, along with the PET-D tool. You're going to get instant course access. Also, we didn't really go into detail about entering or exiting or placing your stop. You're going to get all the entries, exits, and stops, all the rules, 7 different entries, exits, and stop placements. So you can decide which one makes you feel the most comfortable. If you're a more aggressive trader, you'll want to pick one more than the other. If you're a more conservative trader, you'll want to pick one more than the other, okay? You'll also get the automatic buy and sell arrows along with the PET-D techniques, 4 other different trading techniques included with the PET-D. Now you saw how simple it was on our platform. We're going to also throw in 12 months of the PTS Primo Charting Platform, a full year for you to use the dynamic duo on. Now, this will normally cost you close to $1,800. We're throwing in a full year entirely free. So with the dynamic duo special, you'll get a full year of our platform entirely free. Now, the good news is that there are so many more things included on the platform, not just the dynamic duo. You'll get all these other techniques and tips and methods I've accumulated in 4 decades. Things like our proprietary exit levels, over 90 of the most prominent indicators, a signal scanner, strength of trend tool that has a great ability to tell you when a trend is running out of steam or not, and along with so many more edges and things that I've accumulated and that I continue to use, and personalized tech support. Now, let me share with you 2 of the things I think are the most valuable. These are the proprietary exit levels and the signal scan. Let me show you how you could apply this, okay? On a nightly basis, you could scan for strategy 4 signals, all right? You can simply scan for them, and you can also scan for PET-D confirmations. Now, let me show you how simple this is. Let's say you scanned at midway through October and you got a buy signal with TMUS. Here's another option that you'll only find on our platform. Before you took the trade, let's say you want to use one of our 7 different exit methods to see where these exit levels were. All you have to do is click on strategy 4. In the drop-down menu, click on range extension exits. It's one of our different methods for exiting. and you'll automatically see 4 different levels for exiting. This is prior to you even entering the trade. You'll know where you may want to get out. If you're the type of trader that likes to get in and out, doesn't want to stay in the trade too long, well, then you'd use exit level number 1 or exit level number 2. If you're the type of trader that likes to get more bang for your buck and you don't mind staying in longer and riding out as far as you can, well, then you use exit level 3 or exit level number 4. Now, we always tell our students that you should at least exit the trade entirely at exit level number 4 because most likely the trend changes. So you decide to buy and take this trade, this dynamic duo setup, and you make a quick 8 points in just about a week's time. And you say to yourself, wow, well, this still looks strong. I exited, but Steve says to always exit at the 4th level because the odds are in your favor. The trend will change, and look what happened. Okay. See the beauty of this? This is all auto-generated on the platform in your 12 months of usage. Here's another example. A buy signal in DraftKings. This was in September coming into October. It's validated. It's a valid dynamic duo setup. Once again, you could have taken a quick 10 points using our 4 different exit levels with this particular one on the platform. And look what happened after your exit. This is all included on the platform along with a host of many other tips, techniques, and methods that I've accumulated in my 40 years of trading, 43 years. So once again, we're throwing in a full year's usage of the PTS Primo charts along with our dynamic duo special. So let's break this down, okay? You're going to get the strategy number 4, the course. You're also going to get the Pet D, and you're also going to get a full year of the PTS Primo charts and for your usage with the trading. All right, if we broke this down individually, strategy 4 would roughly cost you close to $700. The Pet D individually would cost you close to $3,000. And as we said earlier, a full year of the PTS Primo charts would cost you close to $1,800. So altogether, without this special, you're going to be spending close to $5,500. Now, we know it's the end of the year. We know it's been a very difficult year for everyone. So we're not going to even come close to charging you $5,500. Here's our special. We're going to have a one-time payment of $497. That's less than $500. And then all you have to do is have a monthly payment of $97 a month. That's it. A one-time payment of less than $500 and then $97 per month. All right. I'm not saying or guaranteeing you that you'll make trades enough with strategy number 4 to make that payment. But trust me, look at the last signals I just shared with you that happened in the last month. Don't you think you could have taken advantage of any of these? So this is the beauty. You'll have the dynamic duo access, and you'll be able to make consistent, high probability setups. Now, for those of you who want to pay in full and you say, listen, I don't want to have a monthly payment, I'm sold, I want to start trading this, I want to own it, well, it's $29.95, okay, a one-time payment. The beauty of this is that, once again, you can always establish payment plans. You can always go and do a $497 and $97 per month, or you can have it just $29.95 altogether. Remember, there is only 1 month remaining in 2020. That's it. You owe it to yourself to start off 2021 in the right direction, okay? Take your trading to the next level. I use the dynamic duo on a daily basis in some capacity in my own trading. So take it to the next level. I'll be there with you every step of the way. Along with this course, along with a full year of the platform, of the Pet D and Strategy 4, you'll get my personal email address where you can contact me whenever you'd like to answer any questions you have about trading the dynamic duo. So I'll be there with you every step of the way throughout 2021 and beyond. Take advantage of this great, great offer. Here's how to contact Pro Trader Strategies. I would really suggest calling them directly, because if you have any questions about pricing or the platform, you can call them directly at 310-598-6677, and they would be more than happy to answer questions. There's absolutely no obligation. They have trained consultants manning the phones right now. They would be more than happy to answer any questions so you can think about it. But remember, this is a limited time offer. So don't waste the next couple of months saying, well, you know what? It's January. I'm ready to do this, because that offer may be gone, okay? Now, the link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you to the sign-up page. It's not a live link, but they just posted a live link in the chat box. If you go to the chat box in the go to webinar column in the far right-hand portion, you'll see that there's a live link there, okay? Now, I promised you I would answer any question that you may have. A lot of you are having questions that want to have me answer them, and I promised you I would. So just go to the question and answer box in the far right-hand corner. type in whatever question you have and I'll answer it for you, okay? Someone's asking, is this course live or is it an online? Okay, the course you get is a online course. So we send you a link where it's a recording, where it's a number of videos where you just simply go through them and learn them, and then you contact me via email with any questions. And so that's how we feel is the best way to learn, okay? This is not a live course. But then on top of that, you will get the platform, and you'll be able to experiment with that and go use that as a learning apprentice. In other words, a lot of our students say the next best thing to having me sit next to them is to have the platform, because they can check their work, and we designed it that way. So in other words, you learn all the rules to properly identify a strategy number 4 signal. And the way to check your work is to look at the chart, see if you find that pattern, see if you properly identify it, and then click on the signal arrows in the strategy for a drop-down menu, and you can see if you've properly identified one by checking your work. This is what it's designed for. We want to eventually get you to the spot where you don't even have to use those arrows anymore. I personally don't use them because I know exactly where a setup is all the time. I don't need that. Okay, so that's where we want to get you at that point on the course. On top of that, in the platform, you already have access to the PTS and the strategy 4, so it's right there for you to see, right in front of you, to see if a signal has been generated. Okay. Once again, someone's asking, can this work on other markets? Yes, you saw me. I showed it on a 2-hour chart of the British pound. I also showed on a 30-minute chart of E-mini futures and a weekly chart of commodities. So yes, that's enough proof to share with you that it does work in any market or any time frame. I personally like to use it on intraday trading the E-mini futures. That's where I use it. That's my market of choice because I was raised in a background of day trading when I first worked on the floor of the exchange. And secondly, because of giving webinars and teaching and answering emails, I don't have a lot of time to be looking over stocks and checking. So I like to intraday trade whenever I can, whenever I have a free moment. So it does not matter what market or what time frame. Someone's asking, can we apply this on our own platform? Yes, you can. If you want to, we have the add-ons for most of the major platforms, such as TradeStation, Metastock, MT4, NinjaTrader, Sierra Charts, all of the major platforms. Even, yes, Thinkorswim, we also have that too. There's a few slight alterations you have to make for Thinkorswim, but you can use it and apply it with that. We'll show you how to, in our tech support, we'll take care of that for you. But yes, but remember, once again, you won't get the ease of access as you do with the platform. Our platform was designed to make it simple. In other words, if you had, let's say, Metastock, well, if you wanted to use the dynamic duo, you'd have to punch up the stock, then you'd have to go into the indicator icon, scroll down the hundreds of different indicators to find the PTS or strategy 4, first of all, to get the up and down arrows, then scroll down to find the PTS. And then by that time, you've wasted a good 5 minutes looking for this. Remember, everything is one click away on the platform. In a matter of seconds, you'll see a strategy 4 and a PTS confirmation. So you can use your own platform for entries and exits, but we would really recommend getting and using our platform just to learn how to apply the PTS, okay? Okay, good questions. If there are no further questions, we've come just about to the end of the presentation. I want to thank you for taking time out of your Wednesday. Remember, this is a limited time offer. I can't think of a better way for you to start out 2021 in the right direction, putting your best foot forward with a strategy, with a method, and a confirmation tool that I personally use every day. So this is really a great, great way to get your trading back on board. Remember, each and every one of you will be sent a link to this recording once we conclude the presentation. And if you're interested at all in becoming a student of mine, please contact Pro Trader Strategies. There's no obligation. If you have any questions concerning price or becoming a student, just contact them. They would be more than happy to answer your questions, no obligation, and give you more information about pricing or the platform, okay? As we close here, I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I wish you a really safe and happy Thanksgiving tomorrow. But most of all, I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the Dynamic Duo course, okay? Have a great day. Have a great holiday. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.